So, okay, we are recording. Wonderful. Okay, so once again, welcome everyone to the Ultimate Guide to Overcoming Emotional Eating Masterclass. Really excited to have you here. Really excited to have so many people from around the world come and join us this evening. And it's a very early morning for Mary in the USA. So that's I'm just so happy. Now, yeah, let's get into this. My aim tonight is to take you through 7 steps to help you to transform emotional eating. I'm guessing if you're here, emotional eating is something that is very familiar to you. You're no stranger to it. And I know from working with men and women that it can be something that has been a really big challenge for many years. For some, it's been decades. And, it really is my mission to be able to help people to find some peace around food, because, food is a very important part of our life, obviously. And, biologically, we need to eat it. It's in our DNA. We must eat to survive. And it's pretty awful when, food every day presents a challenge. And this is where, hoping tonight, we can help you to overcome some of those things and give you some strategies and tools on how to work with emotional eating or binge eating, or in fact, having a challenging relationship with food. And we'll talk a bit more about that as we go. So the 7 steps to transforming emotional eating, my approach to weight and its loss is very different. I'm working, it goes way beyond calorie counting, dieting and exercise. In fact, I don't advocate diets when I'm working with people. I take a very unique mind, body, soul approach that takes into account who we are as eaters. Which might sound a little bit odd to you. It certainly did when I first came across it, but believe you me, it made an awful lot of sense as I delved more into mind-body nutrition. So I suppose I'd like to tell you a little bit about me and my why. That might help to resonate. You might resonate with my story. It might help you to understand why I do what I do. So my name's Suzanne Ingleton. I've been on a healing journey for since around 2008. And but even before that, the reason, and I've not really known that until I started doing this work, but before that, in primary school, it actually really started in primary school. And it's interesting when you look at the stories, the life that you've lived and how you've come about to where you are in this day and this time. So in primary school, I was bullied for being, a lanky redhead with freckles, and I was called all sorts of names: Pippi Longstockings, Fire Engine Red, and sort of you name it, Spotty. And it was my desire as a young kid to be in with the in crowd. And we had the pretty girls at school, and they were always in their group. And I, for some reason, and I have an indication as to I do know why, that I wanted to be like them. And I thought in my mind that to be pretty, I had to be thin. And I was lanky anyway. But I thought I needed to go one step better. And my mum, who was very much a product of her environment in the late 60s, was all about the size of her waist and her body image. And she really wanted to have a 22-inch waist. Now, I haven't got my tape measure, but it's about this big. and how do you fit a body inside that circumference? It's astounding. In fact, my auntie had an 18-inch waist, so they talked about that a lot. And as a young child, a young girl, wanting to fit in, I sort of thought, well, that is the perfect person, the perfect body. That's who I need to be and how I need to be. And I didn't know exactly how to get that other than deprive my body of food. So I had very disordered eating and a very disordered relationship with food. So I would deprive my body of food and be so, insatiably hungry then that I would binge and I would just eat everything in sight. And then, of course, in my mind, food was the enemy. And so all I wanted to do was get rid of it. So I would then purge, and I was, in the grips of bulimia a lot of the time. And moving on from there, I discovered laxatives. And so that was another way for me to purge food from my body. And so it was a very, very unhealthy relationship with food. And I was very body focused. And, from my thoughts that I had created in my own mind from the environment that I lived in, through no fault of anyone at all. This is the thoughts. This is how I came to decide that I needed my body needed to be this way. And that went on for a long time, into my 40s actually. And so when I look back and think about what I used to do, it horrifies me. And then I had a bit of a huge wake-up call, and I got cancer in 2008. I had breast cancer, diagnosed with breast cancer. And I'm not saying that was caused by, how I was treating my body, but I had a very serious challenge around my health. And I really came to the understanding that I'd taken my health for granted. And it was taken away from me just like that. And so it was really from that point on that I decided, and because of the incredible, the kindness and generosity of the women and men in the hospitals, when you go for radiotherapy every day, it's pretty daunting, and you get to know a lot of people quite quickly. And I'd never experienced that level of kindness and help from people, who were external from my family and friends. And I just felt that I had to give something back. I didn't know what that meant. I didn't know what that looked like. But over time, and my oncologist at the time said to me, the best way for you to survive this, Suzanne, is to be fit and healthy. And if you don't know me, or you do know me, I'm a very literal person. I take things quite literally. So I went, oh, what can I do? And I did like to keep fit at that point. So I thought, oh, I'll be a personal trainer. That would be a great way for me to keep fit, to be fit and healthy, but also to help other people. And so, that's that in my mind at that point. That was when I decided that, yes, I can start to help others to value their health and not take it for granted. But over time, I, felt that, and I certainly saw as a personal trainer that people were taking a very unhealthy view of weight and its loss. And, they'd come to me and exercise excessively and diet excessively, and they'd lose lots of weight, and then they'd go away and do their own thing. But later on, they'd come back and say, Suzanne, I don't know what's happened, but I've put on all this weight again. Can we start again? So, okay. And I did. And I didn't really realize what was, why they couldn't sustain it. And it wasn't until I had, another bump in the road, as you would call it, that I really started to seek help around the mind, and to heal myself from an emotional level. And I guess this is when I discovered energy healing. I loved it so much. It was just such an integral part of my life. It still is. that I became a teacher. So I was teaching Reiki, and that led me to meditation. And I just love that so much. I decided to teach meditation as well. And, you know, through that, I gradually became to understand that the mind really played an incredible part in how our body works and how we function as humans, and you know, what we can do with the power of our mind in terms of you know, managing emotions and you know, our mental health. And so from there, that I decided, I sort of started putting some pieces together, and I thought, wow, I know what the missing link here, you know, when I was talking earlier about my my clients who were not being able to sustain weight loss. And it was the mind that was the missing link. It was the missing link that was really preventing, you know, the lack of understanding of how powerful the mind is, that was preventing people from losing weight and actually causing them to gain weight. It wasn't all about the food and exercise. And, you know, weight gain is always the symptom of something else that's going on. And this is what I want to talk to you tonight about, so that you can, you know, have a better understanding and, you know, have a perhaps a greater level of compassion and understanding of, you know, what your mind is doing and how you can help yourself to help your body without being in a constant battle with it. So yeah, I from becoming a meditation teacher, learning more about the mind, I happened to come across you know, some information on hypnosis, and then that was another, you know, another shiny ball, and I went, wow, this is amazing, let's learn more about hypnosis. I became a hypnotherapist, and from there a neurolinguistics practitioner, which is all about the language of the mind, because now I'm starting to tie in all these things and just going, oh, wow, I can help people at such a greater level now, knowing that this here, our mind, is just driving all of our behavior. We think we're willpower weaklings, but we're not. It's our mind, and understanding how it works makes a massive difference. And so, and from there, I you know, delved more into eating psychology and mind-body nutrition and nutrition in general. So that's my background. That's what I'm qualified in. And so I've been working with men and women over the last 4 or 5 years now. I think I've been in the health and wellness industry for about 15 years. And in its current format with the Mind Body Weight Reset, my business is SA Weight Loss Hypnosis, aka the Weight Loss Coach. And the program that I help women and men to really transform their relationship with food and body and, you know, their life in general, is called the Mind Body Weight Reset. But let's get on to these 7 steps. So here we go, the 7 steps. Let's have a look. What are we going to learn more? And thank you for your messages, everyone. It's lovely. I'm seeing them filter through. So we are going to learn more about the origin of emotional eating. Did you know it's a thing? Your perfect strategy. Of course, you know it's a thing, but I want you to know that there's actually reason for it. How do you work with how to work with your emotions rather than your emotions working against you. The power of being in the moment. One of the biggest things that I find that, you know, people are lacking in is present moment awareness. Most people are very externally focused and not in the moment, but always thinking about what's next, or what's happened, you know, in the past, or worrying about what they don't even know what's going to happen in the future. So being in the present moment, the power of being in the moment is incredible. Asking yourself, what are you really hungry for? Like, I know that you know deep down it's not food, but our mind will drive us to the cupboard or wherever to eat, to self-soothe. But when we take a step back, take a breath, get into the moment and say, well, wait a minute, I know food's not going to help me. What else am I hungry for? Cultivating some kindness rather than, the continual negative thought processes around why you're doing something and why can't you stop, and all of those kinds of things. And the ultimate cure. And also, I would like to ask for your permission at the end of the presentation. I have got some information that I'd like to let you know about. It's a program that I'm running. So, if you'd like to stay until the end and find out a bit more about that, this is the way that I help people get out of where they are. And this is a brand new thing. So I hope that that's okay, that I can share that with you too, right at the very end. All righty. So now, is this you? And I'd love to just love for you to pop into the chat if this is you, or you have some similar feelings, emotions, traits, behaviors, a stress eater, a secret eater. Are you a super fast eater? All of the above. Do you know what to do but just can't do it? Oh my goodness. This is what I hear every day. I know what I should do. I've got every book. I've got every exercise thing. I've got, every YouTube, thing that I should be watching. They know what to do. They just can't do it. I just want to eat everything I can. Absolutely. All of the above except super fast. Yeah, all of the above. Do you eat to feel better and then feel bad? Yeah, that's a yucky one. Food is meant to be pleasurable, and it's, it's pretty tough, as I said, in our life. And our relationship with food, how we think about food, is going to be the longest relationship that we have in our life, longer than with our children or our spouse or our with whomever. It is the longest. And if we don't have a good relationship with food, then it makes it pretty challenging. Tony says, I have an all or nothing type of personality. Yes, I hear that a lot too. It's either all or nothing. Yeah, me too. Yeah, okay. And there's a lot of psychology around that, and biology. We call it the psychobiology. When we understand that we can tackle this from a different perspective, a different mindset, fear of missing out. Yep. I can go all day without food, and then all of a sudden, bang, yes. And there's a biological reason for that, and we'll talk about that as we go. I never leave anything. Yeah. So very, very similar, and same but different. But food is a challenge. And but we don't want it to be a challenge, because, as I said, we're going to be spending a lot of time with food over the period of our lives, and it would be much better to have a happy relationship with food and have that sense of joy, peace, and pleasure with it. And believe you me, it is possible. So these are some of the effects that you've already said, how it's affecting you, but these are just a dot point in not even a week's worth of calls that I've had. How does this affect you? Being moody, tired, and hangry, or hungry all the time, always thinking about food, to the point where even self-neglect has caused challenges around food, and just not feeding yourself or not giving yourself time to eat, or eating foods that are completely unhelpful in terms of neglecting the health of the body. Tony says, as you're talking, I also realize intergenerational unhealthy relationship with food. Totally learned behavior. Yes. And beliefs that we can't, we create as children, but not really knowing and feeling like this is the thing, this is what is the problem, but in actual fact it's a belief that we have. People that have tried everything, terrified of putting back on weight, having health issues around, with knees and back, anxiety around food, feeling frustrated, getting bigger every year, self-sabotaging, ashamed of what people think, so many things. But yeah, these are the effects, and I'm sure there are many more that you are going through, and there's certainly many more in the diaries and the case studies of people that I've worked with. So let's look at the definition of emotional eating. Did you know there was one? Yes. So the definition of emotional, Emma says me, does that mean you're the definition of emotional eating? So it is the behavior, yeah, she said. Emotional eating is the behavior of turning to food to regulate emotions. So people will often label themselves as emotional eaters as if it is a thing, like a thing like, I've got, and I do have a thyroid condition, or I'm premenstrual, or, I have 2 legs, 2 arms. These are things that happen, that we have. These are things that we have. But in fact, emotional eating is not a condition or a thing. It's a behavior. And so, and I'll talk more about that. But when we define ourselves as emotional eaters, and you may not actually define yourselves in that term, but for those of you who do, and just to give you an understanding of emotional eating, when we give ourselves this label that we are emotional eaters, we're actually unconsciously giving ourselves permission to do the thing that we don't want to do. Now, the mind is incredibly powerful, and I don't have my book here with me. I've been listening to an incredible book called You Are the Placebo by Joe Dispenza. And he does a lot of work around esoterical, but the mind, the power of the mind. And our mind is so powerful that it will create our reality. Whatever we think, we will do. So what you think about, you bring about. And simply unconsciously, by saying to yourself, I'm an emotional eater, will give you permission to actually do the thing that you don't want to do. And if we keep telling ourselves and training the neural pathways of our brain that permeates into the neural nets of the body, which tells us what to do at a cellular level, we will begin to do these things unconsciously, automatically, mindlessly, when we're telling ourselves this is who we are, this is what we are. So it's really important to be very aware of how you talk to yourself. If you've trained your unconscious mind to label yourself as an emotional eater, sorry, just letting someone else in, then we're giving ourselves all the support and the reasons why we need to continue, because we need to feel better. So-and-so said this, so the only way for me to feel better is I'll eat, I'll numb out with food, I'll check out with food. Food is my only friend, but only for a nanosecond, and then I feel bad. But if we continually tell ourselves that this is what we are, this is what we do, emotional eater, binge eater, overeater, whatever we say we are, and we are saying that in our mind, maybe at a subconscious level, or maybe, we're actually saying the words in our head on a continual basis, we're driving the behavior already. without knowing it. This is very much outside of our awareness, but this is how our brain works. So, you know, whatever you think about right here, you need to be pretty careful, because our mind only wants to support us in the thoughts. So it's really important to focus on thinking the good things and focus on the things that you want rather than the things that you don't want. So, you know, and labeling ourselves or telling ourselves that we're emotional eaters or binge eaters, these or overeaters, these are things that we're not happy. We don't want to be these things. So it just makes us even unhappier to be these things. And, you know, it's a nasty cycle. And psychologically, you know, if we're saying that we're bad for doing this, we might not use the word bad, but we don't feel good, then we're just running the perpetual program that it is actually, and this sounds odd, it's okay for us to do this because we're telling ourselves it's okay. We keep doing it. But we keep butting heads with ourselves going, no, but I don't like this. This is not who I want to be, but I can't stop. And, you know, part of that, and as I said, it's the psychobiology, the psychology and the biology. You know, it comes from these different pieces of the weight loss puzzle that come together here. But the way that you think is going to make a huge change or impact, either in a good way or a not so good way, in, you know, in how you move forwards in life and how you actually do the thing or not do the thing. So I hope that makes sense. Yeah, be careful what you think. So the behavior, and that's why the behavior there is written differently. It's a behavior, it's not a thing. So where does emotional eating come from? So we didn't make it up. We didn't, it's not, you know, a thing that we created. It's a way for your body. Our bodies are so amazing. They're so incredible. And, you know, if I could give you a message after today, is to treat your body with kindness and not be angry with it because it's not doing what you want it to do. It's only doing the best job it can to survive. You know, we have this primal survival mechanism within us. It's like an overarching radar that's always looking out for our best interests to survive. And that's really, it's just a black and white survive. And it's pretty smart, but it's not that smart. And we do have to support it, but it's trying its best to survive. And so as a human, we will turn to food to regulate our emotions. And this starts from infancy. So, you know, when you give a baby the breast or the bottle, within nanoseconds, bzz, it's quiet, it's gurgly, it's happy, and simply because it's received food, but not only food, it's gotten love and warmth and cuddles and, you know, kind words and soothing sounds. So we get to know from infancy that food makes us feel better. And it's actually built into our DNA because it also enacts the pleasure response in our body. As humans, we are designed to seek pleasure to avoid pain. And it could be the pain of lots of things, the pain of hunger, the pain of, you know, an unpleasant argument. It could be the pain of not liking who we are. Whatever the pain is, we don't want to feel that. We would rather feel better. So we're always looking for some way to seek pleasure. And pleasure, or the relaxation response in the body, is a biological response to mitigate stress. And because we know, you know, that stress is not a good thing to have within us, externally or internally, and the majority of us will create a lot of stress internally simply by our thoughts, which goes back to how we think, really monitoring and being very careful and being aware of what your thoughts are doing to your body. So we seek pleasure to avoid pain. regulating our emotions with food is a very natural thing for us to do. However, and it's our very first experience of emotional eating. So emotional eating can be eating from a negative space, but it can be eating from a very happy space. If we go to a restaurant and we're really enjoying the food, well, we're eating from an emotion. If we're on a date, yay, we're having some oysters or we're having a nice time, it's a good emotion. If we're having a family gathering, or it's Christmas and there's lots of love and laughter and there's a birthday, these are good emotions, and we eat for those reasons. So emotional eating per se is something that we all do, and but unfortunately there are those of us who struggle with the negative side of emotional eating. And if we use emotional eating to self-soothe as a habit, well, then it becomes a habit, and it becomes very mindless, and then we're led into a path of unhelpful behavior. So technically there is nothing wrong with us, as if we've given ourselves the title of emotional eating. It's built into our genetic memory. So give yourself a big hug and go, okay, it's not just me, there's nothing wrong with me, I'm not broken, this is how my body is made. It's a human trait, and as humans we need to eat, and we are all programmed to seek pleasure to avoid pain. The pain of hunger, as I said, the pain of emotions. So, as humans, we're always experiencing some degree of pain or pleasure in every day. And sometimes, we're more stressed or more relaxed on a daily basis at any given time of day, any given moment. Emotions can go up and down and up and down. So, if we've had a hard day at work, we might go home and reach for the cupboard or the bar to regulate our emotions, or become calmer. So, there's lots of reasons. Another important thing to be aware of is that food, another aspect about food is that food from infancy is also all about safety. As I said, when babies, once they're crying, you give them the breast or the bottle. This is the safety of, the comfort of being held by our parents, the touch of warmth and love, which is a stress reducer. And I think it's the Dalai Lama that says we all need 10 hugs a day. So if you've got a family at home, grab as many hugs as you can. Just as they're walking past, hug, give me a hug. I'm always grabbing hugs from my kids and my partner. So all of these, the experience of safety is a sensation that unfortunately is not separated over time, and we think it's all the same. So food equals love and touch equals love. So for an infant, this experience is fine. This is what infants need. Infants, babies thrive when they are given touch and mental stimulation and love and attention. We know that babies that aren't given any love or touch or attention don't thrive cognitively as well as others. So this feeling of safety and security that comes from food and love carries through into our adult life. And so, we are all emotional eaters. This is our origin. Every time we eat, we're eating from an emotional space. It can be happy, it can be excited, it can be anxious, or it can be upset. So, as I said earlier, it's really important that we view this as a way of the body looking after itself, protecting itself, going into the relaxation response, so it can start to regulate the stress chemistry into relaxation chemistry. It happens within seconds. And breath is another way to regulate stress chemistry in your body. Just by taking, 3 or 4 deep, slow, gentle breaths, you immediately put your body into parasympathetic nervous system chemistry, which is the relaxation response. And this is the optimum state for our body to metabolize anything in any area, and particularly our digestive system. So, I want you to know that the act of eating emotionally it's not bad. Yes, it can be problematic, but this is where emotional eating comes from. So yeah, I hope you found that helpful, and hopefully it takes the charge away a little bit from, from the thought of being an emotional eater, and gives you a little bit more of an understanding of where that's coming from. So, and this might surprise you. It might be a bit of a like, what? Emotional eating is actually a brilliant strategy. So what does that mean exactly? So our behaviors, all of our behaviors, whether we emotionally eat or binge eat, come from an area of psychology or biology. So, and every unwanted behavior has a reason that is rooted in either of those things. And this is, where I said earlier, weight gain is really the symptom of something else that's going on. And so we know we've just learned that emotional eating drives us to eat in ways that are unhelpful. Well, let's take a step back and go, well, why are we emotionally eating if it's from the unhappy perspective? Why is it that we feel that, we've had a hard day and we get home and we need to self-soothe with food or alcohol, or, we just need to go and secret eat on the way home, and, or whatever it is, there's a reason for that. And so we need to take the step back rather than constantly deal with the symptom. Let's find out the cause. So as I've said, emotional eating is built into our system, and we need food to survive. So as humans, we are eaters, and food does make us feel better. When we are stressed, people will eat to self-soothe, to reduce. Unconsciously, your body's telling you you need to reduce this stress, so eat something, because that's how we were brought up. But of course, if that's your only way of self-soothing, your only mechanism, only stress reduction mechanism, it can cause a problem later on. So another interesting fact is that food is the fastest emotional regulation system that we have on the planet. It's instant. Babies, instantly. Bzz, we will instantly feel better. Yeah, but then we might feel bad. But if we forget the bad bit, feeling bad, it will instantly regulate us. It's better than any medication. So, it's an interesting way of thinking that, yeah, food makes me feel better. It's natural, it's quick. But we need to find out, why are we doing this? So it is a brilliant strategy in that something is happening that is making you not feel so good. And so it's sort of a bit of a wake up to go, or a trigger to go, well, okay, if I'm eating to feel better, well, why am I eating to feel better? What's wrong? What is going on in my life that I could have an awareness over, rather than mindlessly going into the same types of habits? So, it could be things like thoughts of a past relationship, whatever's going on in your relationship, past hurts. You view something on TV, or someone says something and it triggers you into old negative thought patterns. It could be disappointments. It could be just being generally unhappy with life. It could be boredom, procrastination. And on the happier side of emotions, we could be eating because we're happy or feeling loved up, So I would really encourage you, as putting a strategy together, is to ask yourself, why am I wanting to self-soothe? And also, what am I really hungry for? And we know majority of people in my, the people that I work with will say, no, it's not food. I just don't know what else to do. That's just what I do. But stop, take a breath. In fact, using the stop technique, put up your hand, say stop, say it out loud, say it loud in your head, will actually interrupt the pattern of thought. So if we have a negative thought pattern going on in our mind of a, an unhelpful conversation or a past incident or something that happened at work or whatever happened during the day, anything that's unhelpful that just keeps going round and round and round. If you say stop, that will interrupt that pattern of thought, and take a breath and choose a different thought, because we can. Our mind can do that. It doesn't have to keep going on the same, the same negative loop. So ask yourself, you could say, stop, what am I really hungry for? What actually do I need right now? And another thing that I often recommend to my clients is create a what else list. So the what else list is making a list of all the other things that you could do instead of eating to self-soothe. It could be, and these are only a few things, and if you've got any others, you can throw them into the chat, because I'm sure, some people are looking, would be looking for ideas and advice. And well, what else? I don't know what else. You could take a few deep breaths. That will immediately put you into the present moment and will allow you to make a different choice. And, you could say stop. You could call a friend. You could go for a walk. You could go outside, smell the roses. You could play with the dog, grab one of the kids and go outside, grab a hug. If you're into arts and crafts, maybe you've got a painting on the go to your painting, grab a glass of water, a cup of tea. There's so many different things that you can do. So, create this what else list and have it handy, and be present, pause. So go stop, pause. What else can I do? Food is not going to help me alleviate the reason why I'm currently making a beeline for the cupboard or the fridge. So yeah, asking ourselves what are we really hungry for? And if you are in a constant fight within yourself, you feel like you're in a food prison, take a step back and just go, okay, well, yeah, what can I do here now? How can I get myself out of this food prison? And maybe I just need to go back to basics and look at eating some fresh, healthy and nourishing food, which is what I would always recommend. That's, the first port of call when I'm working with people. We sit down and we look at what they're eating, and then we go, okay, what can we do here now to give you some energy, to make you feel better? The quality of your food will totally affect the quality of your mood. So when we up level and elevate the quality of our food, we're going to feel better. We're going to have more energy. We're not going to have so many, thoughts that, oh, I feel tired, I feel crappy, I don't like the way that I look, I just haven't got any energy, I've got no motivation. All of those thoughts start to lead you on a path of downhill. So yeah, there are a couple of things that you can do. And, I want to talk to you a little bit, or tell you a little bit about some clients that I have worked with over the last few months or year. And I think Bianca and Sandy, I was working with them last year. And I work with clients over 6 weeks, and Bianca lost over 7 kilos and 28.5 centimeters around her body in 6 weeks. And she was very much stuck with her food, was not her friend. And, we worked together and she found this sense of freedom. And someone had mentioned earlier about being hungry all the time, and I mentioned Sandy, who she was always hungry. It was her biggest challenge and her biggest nemesis. Just after 2 weeks, she stopped feeling hungry, and she started to feel fuller, and she even ate less. And so this was very much about the biology of her body and how she was thinking. So, we really quickly and easily turned that around for her. And Dee, who had, she lost 8 kilos in the time that we worked together. And it was life-changing for her. There are so many beliefs that she had about herself and her body and past illness She was, a survivor of a very traumatic illness, and it was constantly weighing on her mind and her body. And when we were able to let go of that, she stopped focusing on what she didn't want, worrying about, oh, what if it came back? What if it came back? When she was able to let go of that and free herself from those negative thoughts, her body lightened up. The heaviness and the stress that was underlying within her just disappeared. And all of a sudden her body was able to release the weight, because she felt safe. Before, she was feeling very unsafe, thinking, oh, what if this thing comes back? But we changed all of that. So this was the power of her mind that made a massive difference for her. Let's embrace emotional eating, because it's here to teach us something. It's really important to stop fighting stop fighting emotional eating, because it is a learned behavior. It's a behavior, and it won't get you to where you want to be. It's constantly telling you subconsciously to keep doing it. So it's an old strategy. It's an old strategy that we learned from the world. I don't know if anyone has remembered or seen before, American sitcoms where women are sitting down, hugging their tub of ice cream and, crying into their ice cream and eating the whole thing. That's my first memory of emotional eating. And actually, I thought that's what you're supposed to do, sit and eat away your feelings. And that's my learned behavior around food. But aside from that, the biology of the body will drive you anyway from a behavioral perspective to eat, regardless of whether you've, seen that on the movies or not. So when we are attacking a behavior, i.e. emotional eating, we're actually doing that to ourselves. We're putting more negative thoughts and emotions upon ourselves than we really need to. And the relationship that we have with food is actually a good teacher. And it's here to help us learn and grow so that we can discover and be curious about what are we really hungry for. It's not the food. Get to the root cause of, well, why am I feeling like this? Where do I need to tackle this problem or this issue? And rather than, going for the end result of eating food and then feeling bad, let's do it from a few steps earlier. So, and our whole life is a learning, and it's and this is what I learned from cancer, that I needed to, and this is as a result of a book that I read. Someone recommended it to me, a book that Lance Armstrong wrote, and the book was called "It's Not About the Bike." Generally don't have a good memory around books, but that one I will forever remember, I think. That it's not about the bike. And, Lance Armstrong went through very serious, now I can't remember exactly what kind of cancer he had, whether it was lung cancer, but his strategy was, instead of fighting the cancer and fighting the chemo, he made friends with it. And so I went, oh, okay. And I don't know why, but I decided to not fight it anymore. And when I let go of the fight, then things started to change for me. And so this is what I'm asking you to do and to consider, to be curious and let go of the fight and look at your life as a learning, and be curious as to, well, what's going on? How can I tackle this from a different perspective? Because the journey informs the destination. So, when we're on a curious journey and looking at things in a different way, rather than from the negative and what it's doing to us, from all the bad things, then we can start looking at it from a higher level, so to speak, from an observer point of view, being the curious scientist and the nutritional explorer, so that you can take that higher view rather than be in the trenches and, fighting with it all the time. Because at the end of the day, you're going to be able to minimize the stress levels that you're putting yourself under, let alone all the other stuff that's happening outside of you. And it will teach you how to regulate your appetite, funnily enough. So stopping the fight gives us awareness of what we're doing. And we then begin to have this shift within us that, food is not here to fight us. We're not here to fight food. It just puts us into a fight or flight response, which creates the stress chemistry within our body. And what this does, it affects our digestive system in a huge way. It begins to slow down and shut down your digestive system, slows down oxygen uptake into the digestive system. Stress produces the hormone cortisol, and insulin is tracked by cortisol. And that all of that signals the body to store weight and fat and not build muscle. So, that's all the things that we don't want. And also when we are in a stress state and we're fighting, our appetite is deregulated. It's not regular. Some people eat more, some people eat less. It's not regular. Some people skip meals. Some people forget to eat. Some people continually eat. So, the way that we eat as a human becomes deregulated. So and arrhythmic, when we're not eating in a rhythmic pattern of behavior, which the body is very used to doing. Having a lot of rhythm is, we wake up to the sun and we go to bed, at the end of the day. We breathe in a pattern, inhale, exhale. We have this rhythm. The heart has a rhythm. We live in a rhythm of seasons. There's so many rhythms. We need to eat rhythmically, slowly, feeding our body regular times of the day. All these things is part of rhythm, to regulate our appetite, to regulate our metabolism, at the end of the day, and to reduce our stress. So yeah, all of that, let go of the fight. It's not helpful. Tony's saying, just saw this. What about the corsets of the early 1900s? Anorexia behavior was what I saw of my Nana in her early years when she regressed. Yes, and I think that this came from my mum, having, I think they used to wear tight corsets too in her very early teens. Yeah, it was a fashion. The women's body fashions changed. They were in the Renaissance era. I think women were very voluptuous, bigger bodied women, and in fact, a bigger bodied woman had a higher chance of survival because she had more fat on her body. And those that were super skinny or thin, in the winter months, if they came from a poorer family, were less likely to survive. They had no meat on their bones. They had no fat on their body to keep them warm. So, corsets, I think, were probably, I don't know, and I don't know for sure, but more of the classier people in those times. I'm not sure that corsets were, everyone wore corsets, but it would have been a fashion of the day, and someone would have decided that, wearing a corset and having this 18-inch waist, which my auntie had like this, that was the fashion of the day. So it all changed. And then in the 1920s, people were very up and down. There was no in waist. It was just all up and down, sort of the boy look. So fashion changes over the decades. The power of being in the moment. Look, and this is probably one of the biggest things that I see women struggling with, is they're just not present. And, I talked about that earlier. They're just too busy thinking about what they need to be doing, what everyone else needs, what they haven't done, and how are they going to do, all the things, and continually adding to their to-do lists. So checking out is something that people will do in the moment, because in the moment of a binge eat, for instance, or overeating, or emotional eating, whatever it is, checking out and not being present in the body while you're doing in the act of the thing that you don't want to do. And then all of a sudden you come back and you just go, oh, I've done it again. And that's a very common thing. We check out when we're not present. So it's and it's something to sort of think about next time you are in the moment of overeating, binge eating. You feel like a hungry wolf at the end of the day, and you've gone into to go for the munch. What is it? Are you present, or are you just doing it and you're eating it really fast and then walking away and just going, oh, thank goodness I didn't really remember eating that, but I did. And that's where secret eating comes too, comes into play. People will just hurriedly eat the food and pretend that it's gone. I didn't really eat it, but I ate it and it's gone now. So therefore, I'm not the culprit. Lots of different ways that the mind plays with you to make it okay, when you know that it's not okay, and that's part of checking out. So when we are emotionally eating, this is going to be a practice for you to be present and choose to eat the food that you're eating, rather than eat it and regret it. Choose to eat it and choose to eat it with love. But not only that, stay awake at the plate. Be present in the moment and really eat it slowly. Savor it, taste it, notice the texture, the flavor, the aroma, everything about that food, so that you can be with it, rather than wolf it down or just check out and pretend that you didn't really eat it. Or say to yourself, I really, really love chocolate, but you hoover it and get rid of it, in 5 seconds flat. So where's the love in that? You may as well take the time, savor it, and give your body the opportunity to really enjoy and find the pleasure in that food, rather than eating it fast. Because when we do eat it fast, it puts your body into fight or flight, puts your body into the stress response, and it will also negate the pleasure. So the stress will override the feelings of pleasure. So you feel less pleasure when you're eating food in a stress state, which actually requires your body to eat more to get the same amount of pleasure that you would have if you'd eaten it slowly and in a nice, relaxed way. So it's really important to choose to eat it. Choose to eat the food with love. You either choose to eat it or you don't. The worst thing that you can do is eat it and then feel guilty, because once again, body is going into stress chemistry. So be present, enjoy it. Practice strengthening your consciousness muscle, being in the moment. And it is a practice. Some people don't get it right all the time, and we're not, always designed to. That's where perfection can be a very painful place to be, because we can't be perfect. No one's perfect. And letting go of that and just being present and being in the moment and practicing being conscious of what you are doing in this moment is going to help to strengthen that muscle. So when we practice being conscious, we can start to listen to the wisdom of our body. We can start to really notice how we're feeling, which helps in a measure to be able to accept who we are and how we are, and this is how my body feels. And if I'm eating, yeah, Mary, so we're going, these are the I'm going through the steps, so we're actually at step 4. So I'm sorry I haven't made that clear, but this is step 4, being in the power of being in the moment. This is part of the 7 steps. Yeah. So no, thanks for pointing that out. So being in the moment is part of where we need to be as step 4, being in the moment to listen to the wisdom of your body, so you can know when it's full. So when it's, if you've eaten too much bread or cake, you can identify that your gut is not feeling so good because, it's had too much gluten or too much wheat and you feel bloated. So then you can learn to avoid those things, listening rather than going, oh, I feel crappy all the time, not realizing that, all the toast and all the bread and all the cakes and the biscuits and whatever that you've been eating, large amounts of during the day are causing you to feel lethargic and bloated and achy and tired. So, when we start to slow down and listen, we can identify these things from a nutritional aspect. So that is part of practicing listening to the wisdom of your body, and learning how to work with your internal voices. So slowing down. And if you feel that, oh, that didn't feel good, or that did feel good, or yeah, I don't think, eating that kind of food is actually very helpful for me anymore, then you can notice, you've got the time to notice those things. So that was step 4. And I wanted to tell you about a couple of people who have been, this is, the work that we have been doing to help them change the way that they think about their body in slowing down. So Sam she was always out doing everything for everyone else, all work, no play, parent, partner, and constantly doing everything for everyone else, and overeating and drinking more than she needed, just not being present with who she was. Yes, I can go over the first 3 steps for you. Yes, not a problem. So, we worked with Sam to slow down, to be present, to change the quality of her food. She lost 2 dress sizes and changed her job, got out of a place where she was quite unhappy, and the thought processes around her mind and how she felt about herself, even just looking in the mirror, moving her body, doing things that she loved, completely changed her whole persona and perspective around life. Renee lost 9 kilos and 40 centimeters from around her body just by adopting a different way of thinking around food, and understanding how her emotional eating and her constant fight with her mind and her body was affecting her. So once she let go of that fight, she began to let go of the weight. Meryl, who was a carer and constantly doing things for everyone else, all of a sudden discovered herself as a person and what she could do to provide self-care, to be aware, to slow down, and to give herself all the things that she needed. So let's go back to so the first one was where the strategy, where does emotional eating come from? So it's important to know, where it comes from, that this is part of understanding emotional eating, is it is very natural to regulate our emotions. Part 2 was that emotional eating is a brilliant strategy. It's getting to the root cause of and asking yourself, what are you really hungry for? And the next one, number 3, was embracing emotional eating, stopping that fight, minimizing your stress, regulating appetite, and being curious around what you're doing in your everyday life. And number 4 was being in the moment rather than checking out. So the 5th strategy is, what are you really hungry for? And so I sort of alluded this earlier. Write a list of other things you can do, your what else list. And these were some of the things that you can do: walking, breathing, listening to music, call a friend, step outside, drink water or tea. Self-support yourself instead of self-sabotaging, and make the conscious choice rather than telling yourself and labeling yourself, oh, I do this, I'm an emotional eater, I'm a binge eater, I'm a this, I'm a that, I can't help myself. Change the language, change the thought processes in your mind and go, actually, what can I do? I can do this. I've got my what else list. I'm making conscious choices and decisions to support myself instead of, sabotage yourself. It's working out other ways to regulate your emotions rather than eating. And these are all tools that you can use. A stop is a tool. So, interrupt that thought pattern. And the what else list is a tool. Deep breathing is definitely a tool that you can use, because, when you put more oxygen into your body, you're actually allowing your body to burn more calories. So calorie is just a unit of energy. In fact, it's a unit of heat. And just like we have centimeters on a tape measure, that's a measurement. A calorie is just a measurement of heat. You can burn a piece of paper, it will produce calories. You could burn a chair, it will produce calories. So like a candle needs oxygen to burn, your body needs oxygen to burn calories, to burn energy. And so it's really important when you breathe right down to your belly, so that you're oxygenating your digestive system, you're oxygenating your whole body, so that you're sending blood through to every area of your body. But your digestive system needs oxygen to metabolize food. And so if we're constantly shallow breathing, your gut is having a harder time to process and assimilate food. Plus, oxygen will relax you. You may have heard the term rest and digest. This is when our body digest food in the optimum way to give you all the nourishment, the minerals, the vitamins that you need to stay fuller for longer. So breathing is really an important strategy. Okay, number 6, learn how to forgive yourself. So stop the beat up. Know that self-attack is very disempowering as a human being. If you've got a lot of negative self-talk going on, it's not empowering you, it's disempowering you. And that every human eats with emotion. And it's important to look at how you're going through your day, and taking control of that inner voice, rather than telling yourself, whether you hear the words or you feel the words, rather than allowing the negative self-talk to take over. Take control of it. Stop. No, it's not helpful. Set boundaries around your own behaviors, and practice small acts of kindness. So, when you set a boundary, it's about saying to yourself, okay, and it might be, I'm going to a party or I'm going to the movies, and what I usually do is this, and that doesn't make me feel good. So what could I do? I could have something to eat before I go to the movies, so I'm not mindlessly munching on a mega thing of popcorn and feeling absolutely horrible afterwards. But because I'm at the movies, I like to have an ice cream, and I'm going to have that ice cream, and I'm going to enjoy that ice cream, and I'm going to eat it with love, not guilt. So it's setting boundaries like that, for instance, and being forgiving, treating ourselves as if we would, the way that we would treat our children, with love and kindness. And, sometimes we need to reparent ourselves, and perhaps we didn't get the parenting that we wanted as a child. and we've taken that right through our life and felt less than, or there's a lack of something, we need to self-soothe unconsciously for that. Or take control of that and, reparent yourself, because we can, and speak kindly. So important, because the negative self-talk creates the stress response, the stress chemistry in your body, which is telling your body to hold on to fat, store weight, and not build muscle. Practice acts of kindness is, what we really aim to be looking to do. So number 7, focus on becoming your best self, which is the ultimate cure. So focus on what you want. This is the way to make the changes, because remember, I said your brain is so powerful. It will support you in whatever you think, whatever's happening right here. These thoughts at the front of your mind, if they're negative, your brain will only seek to support the negative thought. It will just bring in all the negative things, tell you why you are this or you are that. So change that thought. How do you want to live your life? What do you want? It's so important to stop the unhelpful, bring in the helpful. If we're not focused on the best version of who we came here to be, we just get stuck. We get unhappy and uninspired, and that's not where we want to do, not where we want to be, and not what we want to do. So sometimes we just have to take that deeper dive and find out what is actually missing. Make a commitment to find out who we really want to be, what really inspires you, what is meaningful in your life, how do you want to live, what are you really hungry for? Are you feeling alone at night? Do you need company? Do you need to socialize more? Have you been hiding? Minimizing your social life because of all sorts of things. What do you need to do to improve your life? And seek to find the root cause of what is driving you to eat in ways that are unhelpful. Because just, eating food is not going to find that root cause. And food is meant to be pleasurable, to be eaten from a pleasurable state, not an unhelpful state. So, it's really about finding ways to transform your relationship with food. And it could be, solving the smaller problems that make you feel better. But for people who have been battling with emotional eating, they're usually facing discomfort and anxiety that goes deeper than that. And that's what I do as a neurolinguistics practitioner, master practitioner, is to get to the root cause, to let go of those old unhelpful behaviors, unhelpful emotions, old anger and sadness and fear and hurt and guilt. These are the things that drive our unhelpful behavior. And once we get to the root cause of those, then all of a sudden there's no reason to be looking for food to self-soothe, because we've cleared out all that clutter and all those old beliefs. And we can start to really focus on what we want rather than constantly focusing on what we don't want. And sometimes we just need to learn to nourish ourselves in different ways. And so, really looking at those strategies, or finding someone that can help you to get out of the funk, to get out of, feeling stuck. Whether it's a friend, it's a conversation, a supportive friend, or a counselor, or wherever that is, then, take that first step to move yourself forwards. That's really, really important as part of being the ultimate cure. So here's a couple of other people that I've worked with who were very much in a funk, very unhappy in their life. Liz, she suffered such severe brain fog that in the first few sessions, she found it very difficult to focus on our conversation, to even focus on a response. She was very tired and lethargic. She just had no sense of motivation. She was really unhappy with her weight and her body and her mind. It was just, wasn't a good, she didn't come to me in a good way or state at all. At the end of our work together, when we tidied up a whole heap of things, we tidied up all her old negative emotions, we tidied up her eating, so she was eating clean, fresh, healthy, nourishing food. She was giving herself time and space to do what made her feel good, rather than she was a carer, so she was doing everything for everyone else. She literally skipped into my office and did a twirly dance around the room. She was so happy and ecstatic because she got her life back. She got her mind back. She's got her body. She had health, energy. She'd had all her body markers done, all her medical markers, cholesterol and blood pressure and all that kind of stuff. After we'd finished working together, and it had all totally changed. In fact, a lot of the medications that she was no longer on, which she'd obviously worked out with her doctor. She didn't need them anymore. And she was a totally different person. Jackie lost just over 4 kilos in the 6 weeks. So, weight loss varies. The biggest transformation is how people think and how their whole lives totally change. So as I mentioned, I am a hypnotherapist, and part of the work that I do is to help women to change the neural pathways of their brain using hypnosis. And I give them, and I take them through hypnosis, obviously, in the office, but I also have a free weight loss hypnosis audio. And with that QR code there, all you need to do is hold up your phone, and you'll get taken to a page that will enable you to download that hypnosis audio, and it will come with instructions. And my instructions are to make sure that you follow the instructions on the hypnosis audio, but listen to it in the mornings before your day starts. It's going to put you into a very relaxed state, which is the best and optimal state for hypnosis to work, because we're putting your mind into the theta, what we call the theta state of mind, which is the most suggestible state of mind. And don't worry, I can't make you do anything you don't want to do. If you don't have a cell phone, okay, you can go to my website, which is www.saweightlosshypnosis.com.au. And I'm just wondering how I can get that to you. I will, in actual fact, since you've registered, you will get an email which will have, I'll make sure that the link to the hypnosis audio is on there, or you can go to my as I said, my website, www.saweightlosshypnosis.com.au, and it will be there. So but those of you who do have a cell phone, there you go, you can download that, and if you haven't had a chance to do that yet, don't worry, I'll send the link through to you. Okay, so Tony, I'm going to talk about that. Thank you. So yes, would you like to work with me? Look, I do a number of things, but I'll tell you what I have found is that a single hypnosis session is not sufficient to make lasting changes. That's why I run a program, the Mind Body Weight Reset program, which and that program runs for 6 weeks, and that's a program where we do work one-on-one together, and we tackle all of those, the root cause of why you're eating in ways that are unhelpful. We let go of all the old anger and sadness and fear and hurt and guilt, fear around food. And yes, we do record the sessions so that you can take home. So it really depends. What I would rather do, Tony, if that's okay, is that we have a chat so I can find out, more about what's going on for you, because I work in a number of different ways with people. And then that helps me to understand a little bit more about, what's going on for you, so I can recommend the best thing. Yeah, I will definitely be sending out links to book in. I offer a free 30-minute chat. So even if you don't want to work with me, but you've got this burning question and you just want to find out a little bit more than happy for you to do that. And all of these will be on links that I send to you after the call. So yeah, you will be able to get an opportunity. But I did want to tell you, as I mentioned earlier, that I've released a brand new program. And if you do want to work with me in a group situation, I do work one-on-one with people, but I have created an online group program. And I'm going to tell you a little bit about that. It's called Eat, Thrive, Love. And it's going to be run over 8 weeks. I'm really excited. I've been running this program in a different format as for the last couple of years. And so I'm now bringing it into the online world. So it's all about eating for food, happiness, energy, and weight wellness. Over the 8 weeks, we're going to be going through this book, which is called the Slow Down Diet. So you can see, a picture of it down here. And this is where we go through the 8 universal metabolizers of the human body, and looking at so many different aspects. So you actually get a downloadable workbook. So this is a copy of the one that we're using at the moment. But over 8 weeks, we're looking at quality, awareness, rhythm, pleasure, thought, story, the sacred, and you'll get there'll be hypnosis on every session, and you'll get a recording for that for each of those sessions. There'll be recipes, tracking sheets, as I said, hypnosis audios, a workbook, nutrition coaching, group coaching in Zoom. So it's personalized coaching within the group, and you get to hear what's going on for others, and how so many aha moments in the room, and learning how others work with food, and being very supportive in that group environment. So for you tonight, if you wanted to join this particular program, it's $390. It's $100 off the normal pricing. So that's 8 weeks working with me within a group on Zoom once a week. And I'm pretty excited to bring this Eat, Thrive, Love. So it's about food, happiness, energy, and losing weight. So that's the program that is coming up. We start in September, so I'm a bit excited about that. You'll get more information about that after we finish the call too. So, and this is just some of the things that people have said about the previous program that in our Goals Club. So Suzanne, thank you for the empowering. Thank you for empowering women from all walks of life with your knowledge. You're truly an inspiration. And these were just some lovely messages from people in that Goals Club. So, and lots of changes, lots of weight loss, and, a new way of thinking about food and weight. So Q&A. Now, I'm going to, please feel free to unmute yourself at this stage. If you've got any burning questions, I'm just going to go through the chat to see if I can find anything in here that I haven't answered. But if you would like to unmute and ask me a question while I do that, please feel free to do so. And I hope, Mary, that I've answered. You've got enough information around the 7 steps to stop emotional eating, and that they were helpful.
Absolutely.
Yes, Mary.
Yes, thank you very much.
Yeah. How are you?
Doing well, thank you. Doing good.
That's
Much
good.
more awake now.
Pardon? More awake now? Yes, yeah.
Much
From
more
the
awake
morning
now.
then.
Yes, thank you.
Yeah, how can I help? Did you have a question for me, Mary?
I did. I was wondering, I've tried for years because I know there's something missing. That's
Yeah.
why I turned to eating, but I
Mhm.
don't know how to find that void, how to find what's missing.
Yeah, okay, okay. So when you go to eat, is it from a negative space or a positive space, or what happens? Like, talk me through what happens when you eat in ways that are unhelpful.
Okay, yeah. A lot of times I feel like I've had a hard day. I deserve this. Um, And then, of course, after I eat it, I feel guilty and terrible, disgusted with myself. Um, but I can't, because I feel like if I could fill that void, I wouldn't, besides your other wonderful suggestions, I wouldn't, turn to emotional eating.
So when you say fill the void, what is the void for you?
I absolutely don't know. That's what I'm trying to find out. And I don't know how to find out. I don't know.
Is it loneliness, or is it uh
I had a difficult childhood where there wasn't any nurturing at all. I'm not sure if that's
okay.
it.
So is it love,
Maybe that's it.
nurturing?
Yeah,
Yeah,
I think that's it.
yeah,
Yeah.
okay. Okay.
Yeah, it has to be. Yeah.
So uh,
I'll think more about that. And
yeah.
I bet that's it though. Thank you. That's very insightful. Thank you.
Can you consider, Mary, working on self-love?
Yes, I can.
Yeah.
It's going to be difficult, but I can.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And what I would also suggest is to really reframe the words that you're using when you said you felt terrible and disgusting, and you deserve this, and filling the void. If I was to if we were working together, I would suggest that instead of using those words, because they're very harsh, hard words, and
Yeah.
they may describe what you're feeling, but they're also giving your mind more reason to feel that way, because the mind is very literal. Whatever word you give it, it will produce the feeling, produce the emotion.
Okay.
So
Yeah.
if you were to
Yeah.
change those words, instead of saying, I've had a hard day and I deserve this, could you reframe it and say, and I'm just, pulling things out the air, that, yeah, I've had a challenging day, and this would really make me feel better. And I'm actually going to enjoy this thing and I'm going to eat it slowly, and I'm going to savor it, and I'm going to sit with it, and I'm just going to go, oh, this is making me feel so good. Instead of, and then you're not going to feel bad afterward. Make the choice not to feel bad afterwards, because you're just lightening the whole load, the mental load, the thought processes, the stress levels, by elevating the way that you're thinking about the food, rather than putting it into the big, heavy, it's terrible and I deserve it, and the void. And I know that these are things that you have felt and they're very real for you, but those words are self-perpetuating the feeling. If you were to change it and lift the level of thought or the level of emotion around it, could you consider that in practicing that may lighten the load a little?
Yeah. I will definitely do that. I'll start to try doing that. Absolutely. Yep.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. I'd love to know how you go. And look, it is a practice, but if you, like I said before earlier, if you feel that you haven't had the parenting or, the childhood that you wanted, and, a lot of women feel this, that consider reparenting yourself and giving yourself the love that you needed then, but do it now, in whatever way that is, and practicing, kindness and compassion, and doing.
Okay, I love that. I love that. Reparent yourself.
Yeah.
I like
Yeah.
that. Yeah. Thank you. Yeah. Thank you so much for your help.
Yeah, that's all
I will
right.
definitely do these.
Yeah, good. Yeah. And let me know how you go. That would be great. Okay. Now as I'm working through these messages, if anyone would like to jump in and ask me the question if I haven't answered it, please feel free to do so. Did anyone else have any questions? Oh yes, Nicole, we're starting work next week. Yay! Looking forward to that. Okay, Tony, yep, you're going to talk with me one-on-one. Yeah, Tony had a question for you, Mary. When you look in the mirror, what do you see? Oh, so you've already answered that. Okay. So
yes, I did. Yeah, thank you.
Did. All right. Now I would like you to consider something else here in terms of when, and this is for, for anyone listening. When, and this is once again about the power of thought and mind, and what we think about, we bring about. What we focus on, we put energy to. And it's about thinking, well, how can I discharge some of this negative energy around thoughts and words, and unhelpful, negative, self-attacking words. So some mirror work, which is a lot of people just don't like looking at themselves, the reflection in the mirror, or will constantly focus on what they don't like, what they don't want. And so of course that once again is self-perpetuating. It's creating this negative thought about self, about you as a beautiful human being, the beautiful human being that you are, is just saying these horrible things. And what I would like to encourage you to do is to focus on the things that you like, or the things that you accept, or the things that you can be neutral about, rather than focus on the things that you don't like about yourself. And even and there's a beautiful woman called Kathleen Donhart, and she had a very challenging, traumatic childhood and upbringing, and she's in a bigger body, and she hated every inch of her body, right down to her toes. But then she knew that she had to really change those thoughts. And what she did was she started looking at her body in a whole new different light, rather than what it looked visually like, what her body did for her. And she had, for instance, she had feet that carried her away from the trauma. She had arms that could hug her children. She had, fingers that could play a musical instrument and delight the senses of others. She had a mind that was incredibly, beautiful, in that she was a coach and a counselor, and she could soothe the trauma from that others were experiencing. She had to think of her body in a whole new way, because her body was a product of her life, and so she had to learn to love it in a different way. And so I don't know if you find that helpful, but something else that she did, she wrote a love letter to her body, to every part of it, internal organs, and you know how grateful she was for the heart that she had that was strong, and you know held so much love for her children and her clients, and how you know she had lungs that were also strong and healthy, and you know she went right through every part of her body, the dexterity of her fingers that enabled her to, you know, do fine things, needlework or crochet or knitting or something. So that really enabled her to change the relationship that she had with her body. So I don't know if that's helpful for you or not.
Yes, very helpful. I was very, very sick a while ago. I spent 2 years in the hospital. Went from a 35% chance of living to a full recovery. So I can thank my body for that.
Yes, you
Yeah.
can.
Yeah,
I just got
absolutely. Yes.
tingly all over.
Yeah.
Our bodies are so amazing. They just do the best that they can, you
Yes,
know.
absolutely. Yeah.
And so often we disconnect from our body because we don't like it. We don't want to know. But it's really important to connect with this body, make peace and friends with it, and go, okay, body, let's work together. Rather than you know, chopping it off at the neck and just going, I don't like anything that's below here. And it's learning to have a new relationship with it. Tony, I noticed I did not see me in the mirror, so every morning I would love at me and say I like me. Oh, that's beautiful, Tony. Yes. And I hopefully you've been going through. Oh yeah, Mary, you've been following that chat. That's wonderful. How lovely. Yeah. All right. Does anyone else have any questions or would like to make any comments or anything that I can? That's my bedtime reminder going off, by the way. It's 8:45. But if anyone has anything that they would like to say or any questions, yeah, jump in now. No? Okay. All right. Well, this has been recorded. So I'll just stop the share. And you will, because you've registered, you will receive a recording, and I will put a couple of links in there for you. So there'll be the link for the hypnosis audio. If you do want to have a chat with me, a free 30-minute chat on anything, you don't have to book in, but you just want some help, I'm more than happy to have a chat and see how I can help you. If you would like to know how I can work with you further, then I will also let you know. Yeah, if you do want to take advantage of any of the programs that I've got on offer, especially the Eat, Thrive, Love, then please jump in. There'll be a link for that as well. So, and you know, what I've really loved is that there are so many beautiful, supportive women in this group that have been supporting each and every one of you. Wow. It's just been lovely. And this is what I love about working in groups, that people form such a bond and connection with, you know, people that are going through the same or similar situations. And okay, Monica, thank you. That was very informative and helpful. I'm so glad that you've got something out of tonight. That was the aim. And I will be running free masterclasses in, you know, monthly or bi-monthly on different topics. So please keep in touch. And via Eventbrite or on my webpage or on my email list, you'll find out more. And hopefully we can. Thank you, Joyce. Fabulous, great presentation. Thank you. And you know, my aim is to demystify the weight and it's how it affects us, and how we can you know, empower ourselves rather than disempower ourselves. Yeah. So loving everything in the chat, ladies. You all rock. I think this is just so wonderful. Yes, take care, everyone. And thank you so much. Thank you, Eunice. I'm so glad that you enjoyed the information. Yeah, so awesome. I hope to have this out to you sometime tomorrow. Thank you. Yeah, that's wonderful. Wonderful. Thank you. Thank you. Thank you. All right, everyone. Have a wonderful evening, and we'll see you online. Yes, let's make tomorrow a new day. Absolutely, Mary. Love that. Love it. All right, everyone. We'll see you later. Bye-bye. Bye-bye.